My family called me a thief for 3 years, but when security cameras revealed who the real culprit was, my golden child brother confessed everything, and my parents were left speechless. I'm 23 years old. I work at a tech store, and I need to get this story off my chest because honestly, I feel like if I don't, I'm going to explode. What happened to me between ages 15 and 18 basically destroyed my relationship with my family forever, and the worst part is that it was all over something I didn't even do. I guess I should start from the beginning. When my life was relatively normal and I was just a regular teenager trying to survive high school, I grew up as the middle child, with an older sister, Hannah, who was like 17 when all this started, and a younger brother, Tyler, who was 11. Hannah was always the responsible one, the one who got good grades and helped around the house without anyone asking. Tyler was the baby of the family, the spoiled one, the one who could do whatever he wanted, and my parents would always defend him. I was. Well, I was the middle child, the one nobody really noticed unless there was some kind of problem. My dad, Joseph, had this huge collection of knives and baseball cards that he'd been collecting since he was young, like since before I was born, and he took care of them like they were his children or something. He kept them in his study in these special cases with locks and everything. My mom worked part-time as a nurse and was always tired, but generally we were a normal family, not much drama. Everything changed when I was 15 years old. One day, I came home from school, and my dad was in the living room with this funeral face. Literally looked like someone had died. And my mom was there too, with her arms crossed looking at me in a way I'd never seen before. They told me to sit down, that we needed to talk, and I thought, okay, what did I do now? Did they catch me cheating on the math test or something? But no, it was worse. My dad told me that 3 of his collectible knives had disappeared, the ones that, according to him, were worth like $500 each, and also like 10 rare baseball cards. I told him I didn't know anything about that I didn't even go into his study because I was afraid of touching something and breaking it. But he and my mom just looked at each other with that look of, we already knew he was going to deny everything. Things got worse when 2 days later they found one of the missing knives in my school backpack. I swear on everything I hold dear in this world that I didn't put it there, but nobody believed me. My dad was furious, like I'd never seen him that angry in my life, screaming about how I dared to steal from him and then lie to his face. My mom was crying, saying she was so disappointed that she had raised me better than that. I tried to explain to them that someone else must have put it there, that I didn't even know the code to the safe where he kept the knives, but they had already decided I was guilty, and nothing I said was going to change that. They grounded me for 3 months. No phone, no computer, no going out with friends, no video games. I had to go straight from school to home and do like 2 hours of household chores every day, like cleaning the bathrooms, mowing the lawn, washing dishes, everything. And the worst part is that my dad told everyone in the extended family what I had supposedly done. So, at the next family gathering, everyone looked at me weird, and nobody wanted to talk to me. Tyler, my younger brother, basically walked around the house doing whatever he wanted while I was practically under house arrest. Hannah told me she was sorry, but there was nothing she could do, that our parents were very convinced that I was the thief. Like 2 months passed and more things started disappearing. More knives, more baseball cards, even some of my mom's rings. And guess who they blamed? Every time something disappeared, it was automatically my fault. It didn't matter that I was grounded and monitored 24/7. It didn't matter that I didn't have access to anything. It was always me. My dad installed a new lock on his study, and he was the only one who had the key, but somehow things kept disappearing and the blame kept being mine. It got to the point where my parents checked my backpack every day before I left for school, and when I came back, they searched my room while I was doing homework, checked my pockets, everything. It was total insanity. The worst was when I turned 16. My parents canceled my birthday party, said that thieves didn't deserve celebrations. All my friends at school already knew what was happening because my dad had also told their parents, so I was basically socially isolated. They bullied me in the hallways, called me a thief, asked me if I had stolen their pen or their lunch, stuff like that. And at home, it was the same or worse. My parents wouldn't even let me get my driver's license when I turned 16, said they didn't trust me to have that kind of responsibility. Tyler was like 13 at that point, And every time I tried to tell my parents that maybe, just maybe, they should consider that someone else was taking the things, they got mad at me for trying to blame my little brother. He was their golden child. He would never do something like that. How dare I suggest it? The next 2 years were a nightmare. Honestly, there are parts I don't even remember well because I think my brain blocked out the worst moments so I could keep functioning. I got to a point where I started doubting myself. You know what I mean? Like I thought, okay, maybe I did do it, and I don't remember. Maybe I have some mental problem or I do things when I'm asleep or something. I went to the school counselor and told her everything, and she tried to talk to my parents, but they said I was just manipulating people to believe me. I had nobody on my side except Hannah, and she couldn't do much either because she also lived there and depended on them to pay for her college. When I turned 18, literally on my birthday, I packed all my stuff into 2 suitcases and left the house. I had been saving money. From a part-time job I got secretly, well, not totally secretly, but my parents thought all the money I earned I had to give to them as restitution for the things I had supposedly stolen. I kept some cash at a friend's house, and when I had enough for the deposit on a tiny apartment, I took off. My parents didn't even try to stop me. My mom just said it was best for everyone. I cut all contact with them. Didn't answer their calls, didn't go to family gatherings, nothing. Hannah tried to keep in touch with me, but I was so angry at the entire world that I basically pushed her away too, which I regret now because she really wasn't to blame for any of it. 5 years of total silence. I worked full-time while going to community college, got a better job at a tech store, moved to a slightly less horrible apartment. Basically, I was building my life from scratch. And I was okay with that. I mean, I wasn't happy, but I was at peace because I didn't have to deal with the constant accusations and distrust. I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life not talking to them, and honestly, I was okay with that. Until like 6 months ago, my mom called me. I don't know how she got my new number. Probably Hannah gave it to her. At first I wasn't going to answer, but something made me do it. I don't know. Curiosity, I guess. My mom was crying on the phone saying she needed to talk to me, that it was urgent, that please just give her 5 minutes. I told her she had 3 minutes and to start talking. She told me that things had started disappearing from the house again. Things of my dad's, money from my mom's purse, stuff like that. And I thought, okay, and you're calling me for what? To accuse me again? To tell me that somehow I'm breaking into their house without them knowing and stealing things? But no, she said there was something they needed to tell me, that they had installed security cameras in the house after like $800 in cash, disappeared, and that the cameras had recorded something. It had been Tyler all along. All the damn time it had been my little brother, the golden child, the one who would never do anything wrong. The cameras recorded him entering my dad's study, opening the safe with the code he had apparently memorized years ago, and taking money. When they confronted him with the video, Tyler broke down and confessed everything. Confessed that he had been stealing since he was 11, that he had put the knife in my backpack, that he had taken everything. He said he had done it at first just because he wanted to have money to buy things, and that later he kept doing it because it was easy, and because I was already getting all the blame anyway. So why stop? I stayed silent for like 2 full minutes after my mom told me all this. She was crying harder, saying, I'm sorry, over and over, saying they had made a terrible mistake, that they should never have accused me without real proof, that they understood if I never forgave them, but to please consider giving them a chance to make it up to me. I hung up the phone. Literally just hung up, because I didn't know what to say. I was feeling like 1,000 different emotions at the same time. Anger, relief, knowing I wasn't crazy, more anger, sadness, all together. My dad called me the next day to apologize too. They invited me to my mom's birthday party that was going to be in 2 weeks, said they wanted to talk in person, that they wanted to try to fix things. I don't know why I agreed to go. I think part of me needed to see them face to face and hear them admit they were wrong. So I went to the dinner, at an Italian restaurant we used to go to when we were a family. There were my parents, Hannah, Tyler, my grandparents, some aunts and uncles and cousins. Tyler didn't look me in the eye all night. He was just sitting there playing with his phone like nothing. He was 18 at that point, already finishing high school. The dinner was weird, everyone trying to act normal but with this horrible tension in the air. And then my cousin Brittany, who had always been kind of problematic, made a comment. She said something like, "Well, at least now we know where to hide our wallets," with a little laugh looking at me. It was supposed to be a joke, but everyone went silent. My Uncle Gregory, Brittany's dad, told her to apologize, but she just shrugged and said it was a joke. And something in me just broke. I told Brittany that maybe she should worry more about her own son, who had been arrested for drug possession last year, before making comments about me. She turned red, and Gregory started yelling at me about how I dared to talk to his daughter like that. And I exploded. I yelled at all of them that they had destroyed 3 years of my life, that they had made me feel like garbage, that they had isolated and humiliated me and treated me like a criminal when I hadn't done anything wrong, that Tyler had confessed everything, and that even so they were still acting like I was the problem. I told them to all go to hell and walked out of the restaurant. My dad followed me to the parking lot. He asked me to wait, to talk. I asked him what he wanted to say, what possible thing he could tell me that would make the last 8 years worth it. He just stood there without saying anything, with his hands in his pockets, and finally just said he was sorry, that he didn't know how to fix it. I told him he couldn't fix it, that it was already broken, and I left. Like 3 weeks after that, Tyler stole my grandparents' truck, crashed it into a light pole while he was drunk or high or both, and got arrested. My grandparents kicked him out of their house where he had been staying because my parents had also kicked him out after he confessed everything. My parents had to cancel Tyler's college fund to pay for the truck damages and legal expenses. Tyler ended up with probation but kept stealing money from my parents. This time from their emergency savings. My parents contacted me again after all that. They offered to pay my student loans, buy me a new car, whatever I wanted as compensation for what they did to me. I told them their money didn't buy forgiveness, that they couldn't just erase years of abuse and emotional neglect with a check. My mom told me that Tyler had serious problems, that he needed professional help, and I told her that wasn't my problem, that she had had 8 years to believe me and had chosen not to. Hannah called me after that to tell me she understood why I was angry, but that maybe I should consider forgiving eventually, not for them, but for myself. I told her maybe someday, but that day wasn't today and wasn't going to be soon. She accepted it and told me she would always be there if I needed her, which I appreciated because she really always tried to be neutral in this whole mess, even though she couldn't do much. Like 2 months ago, I sent a text message to my parents. The last one I'm probably ever going to send them. I told them I appreciated the apology, but that they needed to understand I wasn't going to come back into their life. That what they did to me wasn't just falsely accusing me, but publicly humiliating me, isolating me, making me doubt my own sanity for years. That they took away my teenage years, that they made me lose years of my life feeling like garbage, and that nothing they did now was going to give back that time. I told them I hope Tyler gets the help he needs, but that I'm not going to be there to see it, and that I need to move on with my life without them in it. They didn't respond. I don't know if they're angry or sad or relieved or what, and honestly, I don't care as much as I used to. I'm still working at the tech store. I'm saving up to maybe buy a real apartment instead of renting. I have some good friends who didn't know me during all that drama and who accept me as I am now. It's weird. Sometimes I feel guilty about cutting contact completely, like I think maybe I'm being too harsh or that I should give them another chance. But then I remember how I felt at 16, begging my parents to believe me, crying in my room every night, being the laughingstock of my school. And I know I made the right decision. I don't know if I'll ever fully forgive them. Maybe with therapy and a lot of time, I can get to a point where I don't feel this rage in my chest every time I think about them. But for now, I'm focused on building my own life, one where nobody accuses me of things I didn't do, where I can trust the people around me, where I don't have to constantly prove I'm a good person. And that's enough for now, I guess. It's more than what I had 5 years ago.